welcome to Special Stage and welcome to our live coverage of the 2023 Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages Rally here in Mid Wales. We're in the very first stage of the day. I'm Paul Woodford. I'm delighted to be joined by Phil Brammill, who will be leapfrogging me with the second special stage team. So we have got the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship coverage here for you, and Phil will be covering the Pirelli Welsh Rally Championship. But that just means you've got a full day of live rally action here in Wales. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing today, keep us on in the background as acoustic wallpaper, or tune in, get involved in the discussion on either YouTube or Facebook, and enjoy your day's rallying like we will be doing. This is the first stage of the day, Cummersgowan, where it's a 4.87 mile stage. We're about halfway into the stage here, maybe a little bit more. And it's a very green stage was the thing that I noticed coming in here. And by that I mean that it doesn't look like it's had anything in here for years, which is strange because it was run on the Rally Nuts stages earlier this season in April. But the stage after this, Kerry, which has got a lot of people excited, drivers, teams, fans alike. Green isn't the word. Speaking to Luke Harvey, who's come from there this morning, and in fact that's where you'll be able to see Phil Brammill live after this first stage of the day later on. There's really grassy sections that look like you're traversing a field, which will be a different challenge for our crews today. This is round 6 then of the 2023 MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship. It seems an awful long time ago that we had the Nicky Grist in July, doesn't it? For some reason that summer break just seems to feel longer than the big winter break before the start of the following season. I don't know why that is, but it's good to be back here in the BTRDA, and we've got some titles to talk about with just 2 rounds remaining after this one. The track ride in Yorkshire, and then the season finale on the spectacular seafront in Llandudno, the Cambrian Rally, finishing us off as is now customary here in the BTRDA. We are going to be running the 2-wheel drives, so the 1400s, the 2-wheel drives and the historics through in reverse seeded order before we get the 4-wheel drives, the Gold Star, through into the stage. So we'll have 2 separate live broadcasts from each stage. We're going to be live with you in Cummersgowan, where we are now, for stage 1, and then the second running of this stage, which will be stage 5 this afternoon. And as I say, Phil Brammill will be live in Kerry in the second stage of the day and the 6th stage of the day. Following Cummersgowan, it is straight into Kerry, then it's Hopton, and Hay Park finishes off for the morning loop before we do it all again in the afternoon, and the finish of the rally will be at Ludlow Racecourse this afternoon around about 5 o'clock, 5:30. So we may have some championship celebrations done that morning. Don't need to present his curse on anyone today, but we have had a few notable withdrawals before the rally even got underway. Most frustratingly of all is one of our BTRDA Championship protagonists in the fight this year, and we were looking forward to seeing them do battle with their fellow title rivals here this weekend across the 8 stages today. That won't be happening due to engine issues on the Fiesta R5. Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer having to really frustratingly withdraw their entry last night. There's nothing, I don't think, more frustrating than that. Matthew absolutely gutted. He's going to console himself by throwing himself into the office and doing a bit of work today, and hopefully keeping the special stage stream on in the background just to see if those championship hopes stay alive today here in Wales. We are absolutely gutted for you, Matthew and Declan, if you are tuned into this, because it has been very much your season. It's been a fantastic season for you, and we want to see you out here doing battle. Hopefully we'll see you next up on the track rod. Richard Stewardson and Stuart Jones opening the billing here in Cummersgowan for the 2023 Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages Rally, round 6 of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Special Stage. We're delighted to have you along. We'll try and get to some of your comments on the live broadcasts on Facebook and on YouTube. I appreciate that last week in Aberystwyth we didn't get a chance to get to the YouTube section of the broadcast, but we will try and do that today. Hey, it's a busy few weeks here at Special Stage. More on that later though, as you see Andrew Watson and Emma Cooper through in their Mini Cooper. going to be a glorious day weather-wise. We've been very spoilt with the weather despite that really wet summer. Just as we've gone back rallying, the weather gods have turned in our favour. It's going to be really, really hot and sweltering today here on the stages, particularly if you're in a rally car. Never mind us stood at the side. And it's going to be quite dusty as well. There's very, very little breeze. You can just see the dust hanging in the air. It's a fast section of stage, this. Cars come downhill into that corner where you see them bursting into view. First of our MRF tyres. BTRDA Rally Championship competitors in the Fuchs Lubricants bronze start. That is Giles Armitage and Josh Rhodes in the Peugeot 205 GTI. BTRDA Rally results, or results.btrda, I think it is, isn't it? If you search for BTRDA Rally results anyway, you'll be able to get the live results as the times come through. Yeah, very little breeze, but that section of stage that the cars burst into view when I was looking at the in-car from Nick Elliott on the Rally Nuts stages earlier this year in the Alitalia Fiat 131, which, as you'd imagine, I'm looking forward to seeing through today. It's quite a spectacular bit of stage. It's quite deceptive. You come into it and it is very wide. There's a lot of runoff down there, so plenty of room for some sideways. And you can see a little gaggle of photographers. Stan Casera, one of them, gathered down there. It's always a good sign that we've got some action ahead of us if Stan and a few of the other photographers are bunched up on a corner. So it is quite spectacular. And then they hammer the cars up the hill here. And we're about probably a mile or so from the end of this first stage of their short, sharp blast through Gowan, 4.87 miles. The rally opener, 44 stage miles, fairly standard stage mileage for a BTRDA event. Now here's a car we've been looking forward to seeing through. Darryl Denning and Julia Perry. We've got a couple of Volvos in the rally today. That's the Volvo 244, and there's another one. Just looking for it on the entry. Producer Wayne, help me out here. Where's our friends in the other Volvo? I think you've been tricking me. I don't think there's another Volvo on this entry list. Producer Wayne has a bit of a thing about Volvos and was convinced there were two Volvos on this entry list this weekend. Good to see the 244 out there, wasn't it? Built like tanks. If you watch rallying on YouTube, of course you do. What are you doing now? The Finnish club rallying features lots of those style of rally cars, and they're driven exceptionally well on those Finnish rally stages. Very entertaining and great to see one out here in the BTRDA. If you're just joining us here for our coverage of the Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages Rally, it is round 6 of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship, and as you can see, we are underway here in the very first stage of the day. Gowan here in mid-Wales. Alan Young and Ashley Young in their Mark II RS 2000 there, kicking up the dust and giving us a bit of a taste for what is to come. We've got the two-wheel drives and the historics in reverse seated order. The news out this week that the running order on UK rallies might be changing has created some fierce debate, and rightly so. Some very big names coming out to speak up and speak out about those changes and the detrimental effect they may have on our sport, including people like Mike Broad, people who you just don't argue with, people who deserve our utmost respect in this sport. So we should be standing up and listening to that. But for now, the running order remains unchanged. We have got the two-wheel drives and the 1400s at the head of our field before we have the four-wheel drive cruise through this stage. So the stage in really good condition, especially given that it was run earlier this year on the Rally Nuts, but quite green. It's quite slippery for the first part of the stage. First part of the stage is downhill for a mile or so, and then it climbs uphill. It's through the trees, and it was quite damp this morning. Believe it or not, you won't believe it, looking at these beautiful Welsh blue skies, but it was raining ever so slightly when we drove into the stage this morning. It just had that dampness in the air, which seems to have gone on this upper open section of the stage. It just opens up, and there's some big drops in this second half of this Gowan stage. Some tricky sections as well, and although it doesn't look like it, that corner that we've got where the cars burst into view for you down there is quite deceptive, very fast, downhill into that, and because it's open and because it then goes uphill, it might just encourage a little bit of hard pedalling. Well, that is the plan. That's why we're here. And how good is it to see a classic Mini out on the rally stages? That shows you just what the condition of these stages is like. Richard Phillipson with Brian Cammack alongside. I haven't heard from Brian Cammack for some time. Big name co-driver back in the early days of our live coverage of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship alongside people like Simon Major back out in that historic Mini, and really good to see. Second of our Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star entries today then, Daniel Shalov and Shannon Turnbull in their Zetec S Fiesta. We'll get some results for you soon. As far as the championship situation is looking, the Gold Star title could be sewn up this weekend. You may remember, how could you forget, the record-breaking achievement of Elliot Payne, the young man who so superbly took the Gold Star title here in the BTRDA, the youngest competitor ever to do so last year. Is back in his Mango Go Fiesta, and what a season he has had. He is, well, let's say a car's length ahead of his nearest rivals. Aaron Newby will be doing his best with Jamie Edwards alongside to keep Elliot Payne honest this weekend. I've already mentioned Matthew Hurst and Declan Dare, who very frustratingly had to withdraw their entry last night due to engine issues on the Fiesta R5. They've put a fantastic campaign together and are in the hunt for title glory, and we'll be hoping to continue that into the next round, the track rod. But there's also another man in the running for the Gold Star title, Russ Thompson with Stephen Link alongside. Always entertaining, always fast in that B13 Evo. The last person to win the BTRDA overall in the B13 was Sean Gardner, whose son Perry Gardner is back for his second only rally this year. Today at the Woodpecker, there's Clive Price with Robbie Sanford alongside. So yeah, that B13 Evo in the hunt, and Sean Gardner, when he just pipped Hugh Hunter to the top spot back in, I think it was 2013, was it? 2012 in the 2012 I'm going with, in the Mitsubishi Evo 6. Could Russ Thompson string together enough points from these remaining rounds to do that again? You see another of the historic Minis, Terry Cree, Richard Shaw's, through this first stage of the day. I love the sight and sound of a classic Mini on these stages, particularly when they're as well prepared as those two we've just seen. Sound of that RC40 exhaust and the straight cut gearbox on the Mini bellowing through the stage, making far too much noise for the size of car, but we love it. So what does Elliot Payne have to do here today in order to seal the championship with 2 rounds remaining here in Ludlow? Well, if he wants to be spraying that championship flavoured champagne at the racecourse in Ludlow later today, he needs to take victory here today. One more victory from Payne seals it. Dropped scores come into account after this, well, really take effect after this round, so he could seal it before they come into effect, and even then, if we move into the next round, if he doesn't get maximum points, he's definitely got everybody else in a chasing position going into the final 2 rounds of the season, as you see Chris Gittins with Chris Arnott alongside in their BMW Compact. So it could be Elliot Payne with Tom Woodburn alongside this season in that Mango Go Rally 2 Fiesta, who we will see from shortly. It could be him taking both Woodpecker Rally and Championship honours if he takes maximum points here at round 6 of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship. Having broken the record for the youngest ever BTRDA Gold Star champion in 2022, that will be probably a whole host of other records being broken if he takes it again this season, and with 2 rounds remaining, showing what a convincing performance he's put in that Rally 2 Fiesta to back up the pace and the quality that we saw from him in 2022, but take nothing away from the other guys. I mean, you've got Matthew Hurst and Declan Dare who've jumped into that R5 Fiesta after being in the B14 Evo, and wow, what a performance they've put in to straight away get on terms with the fastest men and women on gravel here in the UK. and to be in that championship hunt. Then you've got Aaron Newby and Jamie Edwards, who Newby very much a single venue specialist a few years ago and has shaken that, well, I wouldn't say it was a stigma, is it? He's had some fantastic achievements on single venue rallies, but has absolutely shown that he has what it takes here on the gravel as well. So again, if it goes Newby's way this year, very deserving. We'll be delighted for him. We've also already mentioned Russ Thompson and Stephen Link. You couldn't be more delighted for a driver who's punching above his weight in terms of technology and with how flamboyant he's been and still keeping that blue Evo as fast as you like. So for him to be in the hunt as well. 4 very deserving crews going into this full weight title fight with 2 rounds remaining after this one here in the BTRDA. That was Trevor Ridge, Christopher Ridge alongside in their Fiesta, the first of our historic escorts through. Well, the second of the escorts we've seen through, isn't it? Lynn Davies with Aled Richards alongside in their RS 1800 Mark II. Got a royalty in our midst this weekend. Have you heard? Richard Goff is back on his home stages here on the Woodpecker. Father of Robert Goff, who, along with Paul Morris, could be sealing Silver Star honours. I'm not sure if they can. I've dropped a message through to Ian Arden at the BTRDA just to double check on the points scenario. They're certainly in with a shout, I think, of sealing the championship, but I'm not sure what the permutations are for that today. But Richard Goff back in his ex-Ari Vatanen Mark II Escort RS 1800, multiple Woody winner, and there's nothing like the sight and sound of an ex-Works rally car on these classic Welsh stages. I'm trying to work out when the last time Kerry was run. Certainly Hugh Hunter, who was out with us on Rally Ceredigion last weekend, who did a fantastic job as a pundit, didn't he? No, you guys enjoyed that. He was saying it was about 30 years since he remembered doing Kerry in a Sierra Cosworth. That's how long ago that was. Steve Pugh, who, in fact, both Hugh Hunter and Steve Pugh, both of them meant to be doing the rally, neither of them actually doing the rally. Steve Pugh's entry called off about a week ago, and Hugh Hunter's Rally 2 Fiesta withdrawn from the entry during this last week. Not sure exactly why. This was going to be his first time back on gravel, and first time in a rally car as well since that spectacular accident on the Isle of Man, where Hugh and co-driver Rob Fagg were very lucky to come away unscathed, albeit with a dramatic stay in hospital. Gutted we haven't got Hugh on the entry today. That's Charles Hopkinson and Alan Jones, the first of our BTRDA Historic Cup competitors. Up next, Jeremy Wells and Martin Saunders in their gloriously prepared RS 1600. That should be howling into view on this first stage of the day very shortly. As always, let us know where you're watching from. We love to know. I'd like to know where we're entertaining you, what you're doing on these gloriously sunny Saturdays. Jack Mason's watching from service with the EJM Preparation Service crew. Hashtag microfriends. I was having a bit of banter with Ed James last night, asking him if he had any Cortina pictures. Too busy putting pictures of his micro kit car up. There is Jeremy Wells, Martin Saunders. Great performance from them this year. To Dominic Cole. Charlotte Cleary would like a shout out to Walk Motorsport. Good luck to Aid and Matt Walk. We'll be seeing from them shortly. Hello to Donna Preston, who will be nervous today. Donna, you'll know the permutations. I'm sure Paul Morris has bored you to death with them this week. Can they take the Silver Star this weekend? I think they can't they? Robert Goff and Paul Morris. We'll see from them shortly. Donna Preston, Paul's fiancée, tuned in. There's a car that we've come to love watching, even though really it made its debut on the Rally Nuts this season. And I follow the build on Twitter. Damien Thomas and Fraser Moss in their Peugeot 206 Super 1600. What a car to see out here, screaming its nuts off, banging the revs off the rev limiter in these Welsh forests. I do believe that the dust is going the other way to us at the minute, which is useful, producer Wayne.
Not fast enough.
Yeah, Mary Evans is wishing good luck to car 132. Ricky Cron, Ivan Devine. And Nigel Rusco is watching up in stage 2. Can't for kickoff here, gonna be stew. Are you okay, Nigel? Craig Smith, one of our, I'd say one of our special stage team. I call you an estranged member of the team these days. Craig, we haven't seen you for ages, mate. But enjoying the coverage. Good to have you with us. Tom Banks, as dusty as Greece, possibly. Not as muddy or wet as Greece, though, I'm pleased to say. You know, the Acropolis rally that's normally dusty and sweaty is and actually fair play to the organisers, doing a difficult job over there and doing it well by the looks of things. It's very wet and muddy, isn't it? And here we are in Wales in September, in glorious sunshine. It's almost perverse. William Armitage with Jeremy Pole alongside in a 306 Peugeot S16. Trying to get some more points on the board towards their BTRDA Silver Star and Gold Star campaigns this weekend. John Clayton is watching from Southport Air Show. Do like a good air show. I haven't been to an air show for years. Too busy going rallying. Paul Street is watching from Mansfield. That's the most exotic we've got so far, Paul. Chris Squires is watching, waiting for the twins in service. And Mari Evans is watching from Anglesey. Not too far away. Peter Lewis is watching from home and just getting in the mood before heading out to the Ludlow stages shortly. Plenty of local stars and heroes for you to cheer on today, Peter. Kevin Massey's getting some sun in Aberdeenshire today. Isn't that bizarre? Mud and rain in biblical quantities on the Acropolis and bright sunshine in Scotland. The world's gone mad. Hello to Nigel Kay, who's watching along with us. We would, of course, been out for your rally rides day at Melbourne Airfield had we not been out providing the live coverage here on the BTRDA. Hope that goes well. If you are in East Yorkshire, look Nigel Kay up, and I'm sure there are still some seats available if you do fancy a run in a rally car around a proper rally stage for charity. Nick Edwards is watching Hopton Stage 3. This is the first stage of the day. Cometh Gowan. It's 4.87 miles to open the 2023 Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages Rally. We've got a spectacular section of stage for you. The cars coming into view on a downhill section that goes into that sweeping, quite deceptive left-hander that you see the cars bursting into view on here, with Paul Holmes and Elizabeth Beasley there in their Mark II RS 2000 demonstrating the point nicely. Chloe Jackson watching from Alford, not far from Cadwell Park. Susan Shanks waiting for Ron Morgan in car 177. She met Ron in New Zealand at the Silver Fern. Sounds like the beginning of a fairy tale romance, and the story just stops. Do tell us more. Probably got someone in trouble there. James Brown's watching from Pembrokeshire. Is Luke Harvey out filming with you all today? Big hello from James Brown. Luke Harvey is out. I can see him, actually. You can probably see him in your shot, just like a little gorilla in the mist down there. Luke Harvey's out. He's not filming with us. He'll be filming with the British Rally Media boys, but we do share a little bit of footage between us. Hello to Ryan Connolly, pal of mine at Race HQ in Lincoln, preparing race cars, no doubt, while we're out here in Wales rallying. Got us on live in the workshop, as he should. I do like that Rally Extreme Escort. Something about it, isn't it? John Brazier, Damien Bird, kicking the dust up, and I'm pleased to say kicking it up in the opposite direction to where we're stood. Oh no, the banter starts now. There's Luke Watts with Matt Rogers alongside. Luke's got a little bored of the nickname that Kaz Jenkins, his mum, asked us to give him earlier in the season on the live coverage, which is Mummy's Little Squirt. So he's asked us to use a new quote from an article that came out this week, pointing out that he's not quite as quick as his stepdad
Nigel Jenkins in that NJ Autos Vauxhall Nova. But Luke has been quick in that MG ZR this year. He's, well, it shows because he's actually second in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star, just behind his mum and stepdad. So it's a real family affair in the Bronze Star this year. And it will take a minor miracle, actually quite a big miracle, for anyone to catch Nigel and Kaz Jenkins as they head towards that title, which at the moment is held by Pete Gorse and Mark Twynham after their convincing performance also in the Nova last season. It's Kelvin Evans, Thomas Wynne Shakespeare. That's a poetic name, isn't it? In that Nissan Micra. I should just mention, and I will a few times today for anybody who knew him, I think it's important we remember today Roger Allen, who we lost at the end of August. A long time, a very popular Woodpecker Rally entry secretary, but also a co-driver. You may not have known that. Since the 1980s, he was alongside Nigel Wakefield in those days, but latterly Paul Davey, who you'll have seen plenty of times in the Subaru on our special stage live coverage here in the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship. Rest in peace, Roger Allen. Thank you for everything that you did, and thoughts with your family and many, many friends here on the Woodpecker Rally. It's an all-new format in 2023, this rally, using some of the stages never used by the event, but have also managed to retain some of the driver and fan favourites. Hay Park, for example. Two of last year's podium finishers start the rally. Elliot Payne, who came third, starts first on the road and is heading towards his back-to-back BTRDA rally title if he can keep his maximum point score here this weekend. There's John Williams and Getting Solis in their Mark 1 Mexico. Yeah, the other podium sitter who's here this weekend in only his second outing of 2023, which was a bit of a surprise to us after such a storming first season in that R5 Fiesta, son of former BTRDA Gold Star champion Sean Gardner, Perry Gardner. Now he's starting fifth on the road in the Gold Star, which you will see shortly. As I say, it's only his second rally this season, so he's not had the seat time. But if he comes out and is on the pace that he was this time last year, we'll all be lamenting the fact that he didn't do a full season here in the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship this year, won't we? Last year's winner, though, Callum Black, not here in that Fiesta Rally 2, but we must say a huge congratulations to Callum and Jack Mawson, who took the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, the asphalt version of the BTRDA series. He is now officially the fastest man on asphalt in the UK after a stellar performance and a very well managed final event and final 2 rounds as it was at Rally Ceredigion last weekend. We hope you enjoyed the live coverage as that title showdown went down to the wire between him and Neil Roskell and Andrew Ruffhead, who had a bit of a rough end to their Rally Ceredigion, but have had a wonderful season and given us a fantastic battle to bring you the action from this season. Lots of sideways there. We enjoyed that, didn't we? From Ron Morgan with Sean Jones alongside. And that's what I was talking about with that corner where the cars come into view. It looks nice and wide, and indeed it is. There's plenty of room to get out of shape and gather things back up without too much drama down there, but it's deceptive. It's downhill. You're coming into it fast, and as you go through, it does tighten and it goes uphill, and there's a big drop on the outside, so plenty of jeopardy in the shot we've got for you today from this first stage of the day. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Special Stage. This is live coverage of the 2023 Full Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages Rally. It is round 6 of the 2023 MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship, and this is the first stage of the day. It's Cynthgowan. It's just short of 5 miles, and we're a mile or so from the end of this stage, so our competitors should be just about warmed up, ready for stage 2, Kerry, which hasn't been run for, well, we think 30 or so years, and is a welcome and highly anticipated addition to this year's Woodpecker Stages Rally. It's Peter Hinton with Lewis Sim alongside in their Mark II RS 1800. We'll give you some results as they start to come through. They'll tell more of a story, of course, as we get to further down the entry. If you just search for BTRDA rally results, as I am doing now, hence I'm a bloke and I can't really multitask that well. I must go a little bit quiet while I'm trying to do something else. We should, in theory, results to a stage is what we want, isn't it? 22 times available, so we'll be able to start telling the story very shortly. Luke Watts then, at the moment, leading the way in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category, as you would expect, given who we've had through and also his pace this season. Take nothing away from him. Stephen Chaplin, Richard Suter there in the RS 1800. So we have got a four-way title fight then between Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn. Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer, who very sadly had to withdraw their entry last night, but their title hopes may stay alive if Elliot Payne does not score maximum points this weekend. Aaron Newby, Jamie Edwards, who've had a stellar first season here in the BTRDA, and we're delighted to have them in the fight because they've provided us with plenty of entertainment. And Russ Thompson and Stephen Link in that B13 Evo, who have been as impressive as ever. And I wouldn't want to call it between any of them, really. Clearly Payne is favourite, given his position on the points leaderboard, but any of them could take it this season, and each of them are as deserving as the next. Aaron Ricks and Abby Haycock there, pushing on in that Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star 1400 Mark II Escort. The Silver Star Championship is, at the moment, wide open. I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to do my maths, and that's very difficult to do at the best of times for me, but by the side of a stage with very little signal here in Wales, it's even harder. But I'm trying to find out if we could seal the Silver Star today. I don't know if we can, actually. Boyd Kershaw, Keegan Rees have a 100% finishing record in that Flying Kiwi Mark II. But Robert Goff and Paul Morris burst onto the scene at the second round. And wow, did they burst onto the scene as well at the Rally Nuts back in April. Seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? And they scored maximum points for the first two rallies of the season. I tell you what, Chris and James Greenall will be interested to see the times between them, Aaron Ricks and Luke Watts, when those times come in at the end of the stage, because they are flying in that little red and white Nova. They've gone really well this season so far. So drop scores coming into play means quite a lot in the Silver Star, actually. Goff and Morris have 3 wins to Kershaw and Rees 1 win. Andy Davison, though, still in contention in the Silver Star. And Ben Friend, an outside chance, our former former British Historic Rally champion, out here doing battle in the BTRDA this year. And we have got a shared billing here today, by the way. The British Historic crews joining us out here on the Woodpecker Rally. So you'll see some of the most exciting historic rally drivers out here today in Wales, and we'll bring you all of that action throughout the day. Mark Tugwell and Deborah Tugwell's Mark I Escort looking fine as it kicks up the dust here in Cumbernauld in the first stage of the event. So here's how today's live broadcast schedule shapes up. If you're joining us, whatever you're doing today, keep us on in the background if you like, as acoustic wallpaper. If, like Ryan Connolly, you're prepping race cars in the workshop, or spend your day getting involved if you can. We will be live here with you with the first special stage team covering the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship from the first and the fourth stage of the day. Cumbernauld. Sorry, it's not. It's the first and the fifth stage of the day. And Phil Bramwell will be live with you. So we'll be live, obviously, now. And at about 2:20 this afternoon, Phil's going to be live in the next stage of the day, Kerry, with the Welsh Championship broadcast. So do tune in. If you've got 2 screens, if you're posh like that, then you can have full rally coverage on for you as Phil leapfrogs us into Kerry just before 10 o'clock this morning. So you're going to hear from Phil very shortly. Flick between the 2 streams, perhaps. And then this afternoon again at 3:20, just before. And we will try our best to get you a bit of reaction if that championship fight is sewn up in the Gold Star. I don't want to preempt anything or give anyone commentators, presenters curse, but it could happen today. And we will, if we can muster it up, we will try and hot-foot it down to the racecourse in Ludlow and sample those celebrations. If nothing else, you will be able to see a full package of highlights. And if it happens, the championship celebrations in the Seacon UK Rally Show. First Friday of every month. The Ulster Rally and the Tour of Epping featured in last month's show. You can watch it on the special stage. Facebook and YouTube pages out right now. If you fancy a rally fix after the live coverage today. Tim Phelps, Elwyn Manuel in their Mark II Escort on track for a strong Silver Star position this season. Just looking at what else we can do today, as you see Luke Harvey on the screen, getting ready for the cars. So for those of you asking if Luke Harvey was joining us today, there he is. The man, the legend. I've somehow managed to... I wouldn't have been able to do that if I tried. I've turned the comments off. There we go. Hello to Pete Gorse, our reigning Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star champion in the Blue Nova with Mark Twynham last season. He's joined us on the live coverage. Perhaps looking to see that championship handed over today to Kaz and Nigel Jenkins in the NJ Auto Repairs, that bright green Nova that we'll see barking through this first stage of the day very shortly. Shame we haven't got Pete and Mark watching with us. A highlight of my year last year was the Border Counties, when Pete came into the finish and the alternator, I think, had packed up on the car and had to push that up the hill in Jedburgh, and just the emotion on his face as he won that rally and what it meant for his championship, and just the sheer exhaustion was quite a moment actually to capture on that live coverage. Really enjoyed that one. Okay, Donna Preston, Paul Morris's fiance, just confirming that Paul with Robert Goff can't steal the Silver Star title this weekend from Boyd Kershaw and Keegan Rees. It will carry on that fight for the Silver Star for the two-wheel drive overall honours here in the BTRDA, but they will be fighting tooth and nail here on these Mid-Wales stages. Hello to Chris Purvis watching with us. We need to see you back out there competing, mate, don't we? Kev Monahan will buy himself a new kit car soon, and hopefully he won't sell it before you've got out there and done the business. Martin Walters, Marie Fletcher in the Civic, VTEC kicking in, and the wind and the dust kicking in now as well, and we're about to get dusty, I think. A glorious day here in Wales. Remarkable when you look at the weather that they're enduring, I think is the word, isn't it, on the Acropolis this weekend. Phil Brammer with the second special stage team just about to go live in the Kerry stage, a stage which hasn't been run for, well, decades and shows, because there's a lot of grass on sections of that stage. It's going to be a remarkable challenge for the crews from this quite green first stage to a very grassy second stage. Jamie Ganley, who should be filming with Phil right now, is tuned into our coverage, so maybe they're not live just yet. Hello to Marcus Andrews joining us on the stream. Dave James, it's cold in Australia, 28 degrees and dusty in the UK. The world's gone mad. It has. The world's been going mad for years, so don't worry about it. David Jones and Glyn Price there just snaking their way up this uphill section of stage with about a mile or so to go of this first stage of the day in their BMW E30. Alan Dubois and Peter Littlefield. Oh, another team that have had to withdraw from the event in their rear-wheel drive Peugeot 306. We were looking forward to seeing them through. In fact, they'll be up next on the road, I think. They had to withdraw on Thursday night as Peter is ill. Absolutely gutted, as says Alan. I bet you are. Quite a lot of notable withdrawals then coming into this round, which is frustrating. Dean Roskell congratulating Callum and Jack on their Asphalt Championship victory at last week's Rally Ceredigion. Doesn't feel like a week ago, it feels a lot longer than that. Busy few weeks coming up here at Special Stage. So we come straight from Aberystwyth to the Elan Valley and Ludlow area for the Woodpecker. Then next week it's the Three Shires. We're looking forward to bringing you live coverage of that. Then we've got the Historic Rally Festival the week after that. Richard Axel and Alan Harriman in the Porsche 911. Nice to see something different, isn't it, on the stages? And it seems that every time I mention something different coming out on the stages, Alex Waterman joins us. If you have watched our earlier coverage of this season, and certainly last season, you will remember, drives that glorious Datsun SS. Here is Adrian Walk, Matt Walk alongside in their 1400S Ford KA. Let's have a look at those live times. Let's get the times up and just have a look where our competitors are dropping in, because I'm interested to see that bronze star battle shaping up. Let's have a look. I really am multitasking here. If only you could see me now, Mrs. Woodford. That's Philip Harris with Derek Davies alongside, one of the British Historic Rally Championship crews. Chris Greenall, I said they looked fast. Yeah, Chris Greenall, James Greenall alongside. 6 seconds ahead of Luke Watts and Matt Rogers through that stage. Aaron Ricks, Abby Haycock, a further 2 seconds back from them. The fight very much on then, but hell, they did look quick in that little red and white Nova, didn't they? Chris and James Greenall, and it shows, as I say. I mean, it's a bit of an unfair comparison for Luke Watts, who's been absolutely fighting above his weight this season in that 1400C car, because we are talking about a 1400S spec car in the red and white Nova, but hasn't stopped them competing on even terms this season, has it? What a cracking looking and sounding car that Mark II Astra is. Cyril Crook and Maurice Jack. Now, I do have a little bit of info on that car. It's a rear-wheel drive converted Vauxhall Astra. It uses a red top with a dog box, as you could probably hear. It's a mix of a few different cars, actually. It's got Sierra Cosworth front brakes for back brakes. It's got Porsche brakes on the front. Suspension bits taken from Opel Mantas. Cyril's been, well, you'll recognise the name. He's been competing since the 90s. Actually a road rally man in a Sunbeam before moving to the Astra 21 years ago. In 2002, he's competed in 44 rallies in it. Jack has started co-driving for him a couple of years ago. And those two really enjoying their rallying in what is a cracking looking and, by the looks of it, spec car as well. Rural Ready Mix. He's sat in his office in the Isle of Man watching rallying. Good morning's work. Sounds like it. Rural Ready Mix. That's a funny name. There's Bob Gibbons and Jonathan Harris. Do you know what? As much as that is a beautiful Mark I RS 1600, there's always a tinge of sadness for me, because I always think of Bob Gibbons as a Mark II Cortina driver. You'll know what I mean. The days of the BHRC when he was in the old Forge Garage Mark II and doing the business. Recently switched to a Mark I Escort, and it is a really nice spec car, but a little disappointing for me all the same. It's Christopher Bush with Bryn Jones alongside in the 1400S Corsa again. Another time we need to look for when he comes through the flying finish, because I'd be interested to see how that time compares with the Greenalls in that red and white Nova, because hell, that was a performance from them. They looked quick through here, and looking at the times, they have been quick through here as well. Dave James says, Crookie, Cyril Crook that we saw through in that Mark II Astra was the donut master in the road rally days. I'm pretty sure we're not talking about the sugary type. Here's Ed James with Charlie Mason alongside in the micro kit car. Also looking really quick. I'll have a look at those results in a minute to see where those guys are dropping in, but good to see those guys back out. Part of the Rally Nuts crew in that micro kit car. Yeah, Dave James confirming that the Sunbeam was never straight. Dale Gibbons cheering on Bobby G. Bobby G sounds like a rapper, doesn't he? John Middleton's watching on the Kerry stage. Simon Crook has joined in to watch the live coverage with us. Welcome along, guys. Another of our quick Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star competitors there. Dylan Fowler-Bishop with Dan Evans alongside in the 1400C Micra. I've got a feeling we're only 4.87 miles into the rally at the end of the stage, aren't we? I've got a feeling we're going to be looking at quite a close fight in the Bronze Star on today's Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker stages. If you fancy a bit of fun, something a little different, and you want to know what it's like behind the scenes here at Special Stage, we did a bit of a behind the scenes feature on the Kew of the Forest stages a couple of months ago, and that's available to watch on our Special Stage YouTube and Facebook page. And producer Wayne makes his debut, which he's less than happy about. He just gave me a look. And in fact, he actually edited his own interview out when he put it in the Seacon UK Rally Show this month. But you can watch the full feature and find out what Wayne would do as a career if he wasn't producing live rally TV, according to me. But it was a bit of fun, but it was designed to give you a bit of a glimpse into what goes on, because there's probably a little bit more to it than you thought. And certainly having the excellent pundits we've had recently out with us, Hugh Hunter, Matt Jackson, John Stone, Laura Connell, they've pointed out that there is a bit more to it. It's quite involved what we do out here. Hello to you if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you to Mason for sticking that in front of me. We do need to give you guys on YouTube a bit more love, don't we? John Price is wishing good luck to Clive and Robbie in car 204. Kevin and Lucy in car 121, watching from home today. The day job stopped to play for JP Media. Mark Anderson, that tape is a work of art. It is Mark. Mark actually joins us in the behind-the-scenes feature. He was marshalling on the Kew of the Forest stages and made it into the coverage, which was great. There's Ashley Francis Adams with Tudor Jenkins alongside. Again, another of our Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star competitors. Trucking Lang says, hello, let's see which team won the car race. Always nice to have a couple of bots along with us watching, isn't it? You watch, it won't be a bot now. I'll upset him. 150 Tom, my mate Tom Irvin's watching. The sweet sound of Escorts Off the Limiter echoing through our parts department here at Ford Hull, Evans Halshaw Ford, where I've just picked up my Puma ST from. Great bunch of guys down there. They do love their rally cars, and Tom Irvin's quite an accomplished rally photographer, although we haven't seen him out for a couple of years, have we? But arranges some great events down there at Ford dealers. It's good to see Ford dealers getting in on the act. I used to love going to my local Ford dealer, and I remember Colin McRae's car doing a bit of a road show and Holderness Road. Tom, you'll have been a mere baby when that happened, mate. I won the Colin McRae rally competition, won a load of goodies on that day. Little things like that you remember, so keep doing what you're doing down there at Evans Halshaw Ford in Hull. There's Steve Ward with Phil Sandham alongside in the British Historic Rally Championship in the Mark II Escort RS 1800. The dust just hanging in the air here in the first stage of the day, Cometh Gowan, as you can see. Ballint asking who's driving the Micra. The last Micra you saw was Ashley Francis Adams. Tudor Jenkins alongside. Flying Sheep Rally saying they are absolutely gutted for Alan Dubois having to pull out due to Peter Littlefield's illness. Shifty Dave enjoying the coverage. There's Freddie Brick with Toby Brick alongside. We haven't seen that pair out here in the Bronze Star for some time, a couple of seasons really. But when they are out, both Dave and Freddie are very, very quick in whatever Vauxhall they bring out as either a Nova or a Corsa, and it's good to see them back out. Not registered for championship points this year, but as you can see, going well. And it will be interesting to compare their times to our front-running Bronze Star crews this weekend, won't it? Just to get a feel for where they would have pitched in if they'd been doing the series, and we do hope to have them back in the series in 2024. Half an eye on those regulation changes for the running order in UK rallies, I am sure, and the ensuing discussion, which we won't go into today, but you're all probably aware of what's going on there. Tony Thompson, Matthew Thompson alongside, just flicking stones into my head as they go past. We're just heading the reversed seeded way through the two-wheel drive entry here on the Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages Rally, and we'll have a separate broadcast starting straight afterwards for the Gold Star for the four-wheel drives. And we do have a four-way title fight in the Gold Star, which could be sealed here today with maximum points scored by Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn in their Mango Go Rally 2 Fiesta. You won't be able to miss it for sight, sound, or that glorious livery. Luke's asking if we are Radnor way. We're not far from the Radnor area, I guess you could say, but we're not Radnor way on for this rally, no. Dave James says, we're swimming in Kiwi tears here down under. It's a bit cryptic for me, Dave. Ivan Thomas watching from the Kerry stage, waiting for the dust and the rally cars to start well. The dust has very much started here. There's Mike Reed, part of the Yorkshire Rally Mafia. John Millington alongside in their RS 2000 Mark II. Mike's company, the Reed Group, sponsored the opening round of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Always good to see Mike out competing, and John Millington, a bit of an M Sport legend as well. Logistics manager for M Sport for many, many years, and has sat in with some big names, including Malcolm himself. And once again, I should really point out and celebrate the fact that M Sport did bring the Rally 1 Puma out to play at last week's Rally Ceredigion, and that means they brought it out to demo tours both here in the MRF Tyres BTRD8 Malcolm Wilson and in the Asphalt Championship. And for that, you have to applaud them. It's not cheap or easy for them to do that, and it just shows that the passion is very much still there in our homegrown WRC team, who we should all be getting behind, by the way, even if they're having a bit of a tough time with reliability in the WRC. They never give up, nor should we in our support. Alex Cannon, Alan Carfrey in their Fiesta R2. Going well by the looks of it. We'll get you some live times very shortly and just have a look at how that leaderboard's shaping up. Hello to Mike Dorr. I mentioned the Yorkshire Rally Mafia. Of course, that's Jonathan Pullen's book, and it is excellent, by the way. Well worth getting your hands on. Look Jonathan Pullen up on Facebook to get your copy. But there's a book out this weekend, which you need to know about, and we'll tell you about it very shortly. But there's Lewis Hooper going ever so well in that Rally First Micra. Rhys Edwards alongside. Lewis said it seems an awful long time since he went out rallying. He had that big accident on the Border Counties, didn't he? Stuffed that car full pelt into a ditch. The back window broke with the shock of the accident. But they're back out and still doing the business, really punching above their weight. Super impressive in that Rally First Micra last season, and taking the title with it. But this season, coming in with we allow diffs now, limited slip differentials in the Rally First car. So you can see just how on terms he is with cars with far more power and technology under their chassis in that Rally First car. Always impressive to see. Saw a very cute picture of him when he was a young lad as well that his dad posted on Facebook this week, so he'll be delighted that we all saw that. Yeah, so Derek Pearce has released a book charting the history and the stories of the Woodpecker Rally. Thanks to Neil Henderson for dropping me info on this, and some glorious archive footage as well. As you see, Howell Davies and Ian Jones one of the HRCR, Historic Rally Car Register Rally Masters competitors. So yeah, this book basically charts the development and the history of the Woodpecker Stages Rally between 1983 and 2022. The rally celebrating its 40-year anniversary this year. And again, RIP to Roger Allen, a long-time entry secretary for the Woodpecker Rally, very popular bloke and someone we're all thinking about this weekend. But that book, I did want to grab a copy, but producer Wayne had already left a sign on when I rang him yesterday, so I haven't got my hands on one yet, but I will. If you're at the rally this weekend, you can pick one up from Ludlow Racecourse, I believe, for £30. Details at the 60 and Worcester Rally Club who are running this weekend. That's where you can get details on the Woodpecker Rally book, celebrating and charting the history of the last 40 years of the Woodpecker Stages Rally. There's David Dobson with Brian Hodgson in alongside in the British Historic Rally Championship crews in their Mark II RS 2000. This is the very first stage of the day here at the 2023 Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages Rally. It's round 6 of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship, and we have a 4-way title fight coming into this round. Although very frustratingly, I'm struggling to get my words out. I must be eating the dust. There's no must be about it. Very frustratingly, we have lost Matthew Hurst and Declan Deer from the fight this weekend, due to a last-minute withdrawal last night because of engine issues on that Fiesta R5. So Elliot Payne, Tom Woodburn could seal the gold star this weekend if they take maximum points. One more maximum points finish is all they need this season. They've got 2 more attempts after this one, if you were a betting man and all that. But they haven't been able to have it all their own way this year, have they? Aaron Newby, Matthew Hurst and Russ Thompson staying in the fight. It's Jason Gardner, Kevin Lane alongside, very leery. We like to see that here in the first stage of the day. This is Cumberth Gowan, it's 4.87 miles. Next stage is Kerry, and Phil Bramall is live with you in that stage, covering the Welsh Championship today, but this is the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship. Welcome along wherever you're watching, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. I've just by accident reported somebody's comment on the Facebook page because I've had my phone in my pocket. So apologies if you get a funny notification from Facebook. That wasn't intentional. Oh dear. A very, very big good luck and congratulations, and a big warm smile from me for Sambo Collis, very well known and popular co-driver here in this series, who marries his soulmate, as he keeps saying. Lovely to see he and Julie tying the knot today. Have a great day, folks, and obviously if you can keep the live rally coverage on during the wedding at the reception, that will be, well, it would be very fitting, wouldn't it? Producer Wayne's nodding his approval. But no, congratulations to you both. I hope you have a lovely day and it goes really well. Enjoy it, because it's the best party of your life. Henry Greene, another of our competitors, and reigning British Historic Rally champion as well, who has had to withdraw another of the withdrawals from this weekend's rally, but actually has swapped his helmet for an orange tabard and is marshalling on today's event. So great to see Henry Greene chucking his hat in the ring, marshalling, and good to have you out with us. Henry, there's Gary Smith, Clive Jones alongside in their Mark I RS 1600. It's a glorious sight, isn't it, on a Saturday morning? I feel like I should get the live stream back up, but I'm really struggling. We'll get you some results as well, seeing as we've had quite a few of our Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star competitors through. Kev Papper wants to wish Colin Minton and Bonnie Papper the very best of luck. He's prepping for a road rally. Meanwhile, they're in the Fiesta R5 this weekend. And we've got a bit of a Barney Bear thing going on after the... If you watch the behind-the-scenes special stage feature, you'll see that. Hello to the BTRDA Rally account that was just commented. I presume that's Ian Arden. Just give me a second, Mason. I'll get to the live results in a second. Okay, so the cryptic comments about being down under and crying Kiwi tears was about rugby. Of course, there was a rugby match on last night. I was doing some video editing in the hotel room, but Mason had it on in the background. So who was playing, Mason? France versus New Zealand. That's why we're talking about garlic and Kiwis on the rally stream today. Always good to get the sporting context. That was Ben Cree and Robert Wiggins through in the B10 Opel Corsa. Interestingly, quite a few of those cars now creeping into British rallying. There must be, I suppose, Hockleys will have a string of parts on their shelves to make those cars competitive, won't they? Along with some other suppliers, no doubt. Daniel Chester with Paul Barber alongside in their E30 BMW. Someone just held the screen of results at me and it said, server cannot be found. It seems like our satellite may have lost some connection. Are we still live, Producer Wayne?
Yeah.
Or am I talking to no one? It does happen from time to time.
Still on at the moment.
Someone said, I think it was Hugh Hunter said to me last weekend, how do you keep talking all the time? And it goes back to my radio days, really, when I remember my first radio producer, when I used to work in commercial radio, said to me, imagine, although you sat in a box on your own with a microphone, imagine your mum sat in the corner of the room and you're having a chat. So that's what I do. Just imagine I'm talking to my mum. Neil James and Siobhan Pugh on the limiter through this first stage of the day. You know, it's going to be a long day if you're on the limiter 3 miles into the rally, don't you? 44 stage miles, standard mileage, but a renewed format. Fair play to the organisers of, well, every rally really this year in the series. You know, from the Malcolm Wilson rally, which had to be completely rerouted at last minute, to this Woodpecker rally, which is at a completely new route. Put in with stages that haven't been seen, iconic stages that haven't been seen for decades. There's a lot of creativity at the moment in British rallying, and we celebrate you for it. Wow. Another pair on the limiter and on the limit, on their way surely to the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star title here in the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship. That is Nigel Jenkins and Kaz Jenkins, and nobody surely can battle them for that title this season, given their performances so far. It's great to have those guys out, isn't it, in the BTRDA again, and it's a bit of a throwback to the glory days. We need some of our old challengers back in here, though, don't we? Dave Brick, Julian Wilkes, Justin Lawson. But utterly brilliant to see Kaz and Nigel in that green Nova and pushing so hard. Isn't that a sight to behold? I can feel a new profile picture coming on for Luke Harvey, stood there on the inside of that corner in the dust with escorts broadside like that one. The British Historic Rally Championship competitors, Phil Squires and Michael Squires in their Mark II RS 1800. What a sight that is. Hey, I tell you what, there's a car coming up that if you're not regulars on the coverage, but you're into your classic cars, there's a bit of a love for classic Mercedes 190s at the moment, isn't there? You'll love the next car. Steve Magson, Steve Bilby, I believe it's the car that they've competed in for years. It's a car that's been on the scene for a long time. The 190 Mercedes Cosworth, I believe it's a 2.3 engine Cosworth engine, isn't it, in that Mercedes? Absolutely fantastic car, and it's so big, it's like a barge, and it comes into view sideways, and it's like an oil tanker on the stages. I think I can hear it, so just look out now. This is a sight to behold if it is the Cosworth Mercedes. There it is. Look at that. I've got a big childish grin on my face listening to that. See how big it is? Hustling that around the stages and hearing the grunt under those rear tyres. What a car. If I ran a championship, I would give bonus points to anyone who brought something a bit different out to compete. I know that's not very sporting or fair of me, but I absolutely would as I look at those results. So, just focusing at the moment on the... I tell you what, Mike Reed, John Millington putting in a shift there. 4th overall in the times that we've had so far through this stage, but in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star at the moment, Dylan Fowler Bishop and Dan Evans are leading the way in their 1400C Micra. That is some performance from them. They're 7 seconds ahead of Ashley Francis Adams and Tudor Jenkins in the similar spec Micra. Just 1 second back from them is the Civic of Martin Walters, but then looking for the next of our 1400S competitors, Freddie and Toby Brick are back in 3rd place at the moment in the 1400S Corsa. Now, I know they've been out of the seat for a while, but this is their local rally, and they know their way around these stages, albeit some of these stages haven't been run for some time, although Cometh Gowan has. Stop chattering, Woodford. What were you saying? Ah, yeah. So that just shows how remarkable that first stage time is from Dylan Fowler Bishop. Stunning. Chris Greenall, James Greenall, who looked quick through here, a 14 back from the Fuchs Lubricants 1400 category leader at this stage. As you see, Samuel Mason and James Seymour through in the Turbo Fiesta R2, one of the Welsh competitors. And to remind you, Phil Bramall is live now in the 2nd of the special stage teams, bringing you action from the Kerry stage, the next stage along from this Cometh Gowan opener, bringing you action from the Welsh Championship. So you've got live rally action here from the Woodpecker all the way through your Saturday, because we're going to be live for the afternoon running of Cometh Gowan and Kerry as well. And it's going to be a glorious day here in Wales. It's already very dusty, and I spoke too soon when I said that the dust wasn't going in our direction, because it now very much is. We're going to be dusty by the end of this, aren't we? This is the 2-wheel drive field, which includes the British Historic Rally Championship competitors who are sharing the billing with the MRF Tyres BTRDA crews this weekend on these really, really good stages on the Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Rally. And then we'll have a separate broadcast starting for the Gold Star. I often describe it as the main field, and I'm sorry if that sounds disrespectful to the 2-wheel drive crews. I don't mean it in that sense. You know what I mean. As you see, Andrew Fox and Jamie Lee Fox through in their BMW E30, looking fast and looking nicely sideways as well. I've just realised we've got a problem, producer Wayne, for continuity. We'll be doing our start piece for the Seacon UK Rally Show when I'm covered in dust later in the day, when we're saying we're looking forward to some action from the Woodpecker Rally, and it will be very obvious from my dusty, windswept, sunburnt look by that stage in the day that we have already very much had that action. But never mind, you can forgive us a few continuity errors, can't you? Well, just want to have a look where Nigel and Kaz Jenkins slot into those times. Our Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star title leaders at this stage. There's Jeff Phelps, there's Colin Jenkins. Still no time for Kaz Jenkins, or is there? No, nothing as yet. I would have expected a time in. And nothing crazy's happened, has it, in this last mile or so of stage, because we have had time since that Green Nova, and we don't have our Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star points leaders as having posted a time on the live results just yet. BTRD8 rally results.co.uk. Just keep refreshing that for me, Mason, if you can let me know when Nigel and Kaz Jenkins drop into those times. We are trying to split our time between the Facebook and YouTube comments, so we will get to you if you're watching with us and get involved. Watch it your way. You could keep us on in the background, or you can get involved. We love it either way. Liam Clark, Tony Edwards. At the moment, Liam Clark leading the R2 Rally Cup. Robert Proudlock has more maximum scores, though, and when drop scores come into play, these two in that white Fiesta R2 know that they can't take anything for granted. Class move from Jonathan Brace this weekend. He had to another of our competitors having to pull out of the rally. It's been a bit of an attrition-filled week before the rally's even started. Hugh Hunter out, Matthew Hurst out, Alan Dubois out, Jonathan Brace out. Who else? Nick Dobson out. Dropping like flies, and we hadn't even got here. But Jonathan has still, via his company Brace's Bread, who actually they left us Welsh cakes, lemon curd Welsh cakes, which are amazing, by the way, in the kitchen of our accommodation on the Ceredigion last weekend, which was really kind. But as Andrew Stokes, Johnny Tad Evans, I always pause and just reflect on what that car means. We miss David Stokes, don't we? And that car just reminds us. Yeah, we had these really nice Welsh cakes. And he's made sure that the marshals on this weekend's Woodpecker Rally have got Welsh cakes to keep them fueled. And also, this is cool, the marshals have all been entered into a prize draw to win one of 2 full-day places at the Phil Price Rally School. Now that is cool, and very well deserved to whoever wins that draw, because we say it all the time, but we can never say it enough. The army, the Orange Army of volunteers that frankly ensure that we can go rallying and very much run this sport from the inside out, are very much appreciated for their efforts. There's Chris Davies with Remy Thomason alongside in the RS 2000 Mark 1. And also the rally organisers. I just cannot get my head around, and I probably should, but I can't get my head around just how much people put into this sport. The volunteers who week in, week out. Take Neil and Peter Cross, who are out on recovery at Junction 6 in this stage. Chairman of the BTRDA, runs the Nicky Grist stages, is out doing recovery, spectator safety, and various other volunteer roles throughout the year. And I just don't know how these people, A, have the time, and B, I'm just so impressed that they give so much of their time to our sport, and the sport is the richer and exists because of people like that. So to all of you out there volunteering as an organiser or a marshal or any kind of volunteer in our sport, a huge thank you from all of us at Special Stage, because you're brilliant. There's Ricky Crone, Ivan Devine. Bit of support for them in the comments today. Dave James says Chris Squires is a legend, could make a lawnmower sing. You're not talking about Chris Squires, are you? Trying to figure out who we're talking about here. Oh, I've lost the plot. Doug Riddles wishing Robert Proudlock, Stephen Brown all the best to bring another good haul of championship points home in the R2 Rally Cup. They've gone well so far this season. Simon Anthony, good luck to Damien Thomas in the 206. Super 1600, we mentioned how good it is to see that car out. Shifty Dave on YouTube says, I've never heard of a Welsh cake, but if it's lemon curd, it sounds like something I wouldn't mind trying. Welsh cake is the best way I can say it. It's like a really, do you know what, Luke's beat me to it. It's like a really thin, like sweet fruit scone, and it's cooked in a pan with butter. They are dangerously Moorish, and if you come to a hotel in this neck of the woods, in fact, I was at the Lion Inn in Lambista last night. I love that hotel. I've been there twice now, and it's such a friendly welcome and a lovely setting. So thank you for their hospitality. But they normally have Welsh cakes in the room. There weren't any last night, but if you go to a hotel, quite often customary Welsh hospitality is there'll be some Welsh cakes in the room for you. And I took some Welsh cakes home from Aberystwyth last weekend for my younger 2 boys, and they loved them. We were sat there eating fish and chips. Mason's looking at me now because he wasn't there for the fish and chips or the Welsh cakes, but I introduced the boys to Welsh cakes, and now they just think that Welsh cakes have lemon curd in them. Saying earlier, I think we should really just move into Wales. In fact, producer Wayne did just that, realised that he spent most of his life in Wales and moved here pretty much. Well, Shropshire. There's Rory McCann and Paul McCann. We were talking about cars that are a little different, seeing some variety on the stages. Quite a few Hillman Avengers doing the rounds at the moment, and the sport again is the richer for that. And that's a really nice one. It's always pedalled really well as well. Co-driver Paul, one of our Irish competitors on this weekend's Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages Rally. If you're just tuning in, welcome along. Thank you for tuning in. You know, we were looking at some numbers last weekend on the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. We had almost 500,000 viewers across the weekend, and it's not far off that for some BTRDA rounds. And you know, you guys are the reason we do this. You're the reason that the sponsors put the budget in for us to bring you this live coverage. So please do let us know what you're enjoying about the coverage. Give us your feedback, and we'll always look to improve things year on year. The work that goes in the background from Wayne and the team on the technology and on the logistics and various other things mean it's a slicker operation every year, and we've been doing this now for nearly 15 years. But you are the reason, ultimately. If you didn't watch it, there wouldn't be any point. There is Tony Simpson and Stefan Arndt in the Rally 4 Fiesta. It says Rally 4 Fiesta. That's still an R2, isn't it?
Yeah, Rally 4's R2, isn't it?
Of course it is, right? Yeah, yeah. Of course, I'm getting confused between R4 and Rally 4. Ignore my confusion. It's Liam Griffiths, Daniel Petrie in the Fiesta ST. Yeah, Tony Simpson, his company Seacon UK, do a lot of the logistics for the WRC teams, for M Sport, for example, in the World Rally Championship. They sponsor our Seacon UK rally show, so a big thank you to Tony, who's a stalwart here in the BTRDA over the years, firstly in the ST Trophy and then now in the R2 Rally Cup. But this year hasn't done an awful lot, work commitments and other things, family life just taking over a little bit, but great to see him back out. He was doing a test the other day in the car and said how great it was to be back out in action. Times through from Kaz Jenkins. That is Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. We'll keep you updated on the times as we go through the day, but you can do that yourself as well at btrdarallyresults.co.uk. Still no time then for Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. We were talking about him, weren't we? And there he is. There's a man I want to see the time through from. Dave Brick. Just looks like he was fighting with that Nova a little bit up this section of stage there. Torque steer to the max. Elbows out. Yeah, always does, producer Wayne says. He does. Emma Clark alongside in the 1400S Nova. Really interested to see where he slots in time-wise because Freddie's out as well with Toby Brick alongside in the red course that we saw earlier. So that minty coloured Nova looking minty fresh, because it really hasn't done an awful lot this season, but this is their local. Firing that Nova towards a Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star title this season, surely. But Dave Bricker, we just saw through the stage, you have to say, he'd be one man if he was here who'd be keeping them honest, that is for certain. Let's have a look. Okay, Freddie Brick, Toby Brick, 9 seconds off the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star pace. Remarkable, haven't been out of the seat for so long. Callum Griffiths and William Lewis there. If anyone's got the tracker on, if you can have a look, see if you can see Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, because they haven't got a time. Ed James, 20 seconds off the lead car in the Bronze Star at the moment, in the micro kit car. Not the fastest of starts from Ed James in that micro with Charlie Mason alongside, but in equal 11th place with Luke Watts in the MG ZR that we talked about. It's been going so well earlier, and just 3 seconds back from that Super 1600 Peugeot 206 as well.
Through the stage and on the rest of that.
Okay, Nigel and Kaz Jenkins are through the stage, and on the tracker they're showing us on the road section through to Kerry, the next stage, where you can find Phil Bramwell, who is live with you with the Welsh Championship Cruise. But at the moment we don't have a time through from our Bronze Star Championship points leaders, which is odd. We'll keep refreshing that, and if anyone sees the time come through before I do, please do shout up and let us know. I want to see where Dave Brick drops in as well. As is Joshua Carr with Ocean Owen alongside another of our British Historic Rally Championship crews. We are in an RAC, Roger Albert Clark rally year here in 2023, of course. Every 2 years we have this absolute rally marathon, and we're really looking forward to this year's event. The media package has been stepped up once again. We're joining forces with Matt Cotton and Bex Hinton, and we will be bringing you live coverage, reaction, stories, updates right the way through the 5 days of the Roger Albert Clark rally in November. So we are delighted and looking forward to that. And a lot of the crews we see here will be doing the Roger Albert Clark. Kevin Metcalf and Lucy Gutteridge in their E30 BMW. Simon Crook asking if it would be possible to live stream from a drone. Yes, in theory. The logistics and various approvals you would need for that are something very different. You may have seen drones up recently. Drones should not be up live during a rally. Weather dependent, you can get a drone up depending on where you are and where you're flying it, but there's some complicated discussions around that which I won't go into now. But you should see a drone, weather dependent, on the Roger Albert Clark coverage. Stu Spire enjoying watching Dave Brick making that Nova sing. Pete Gorst, our reigning Bronze Star champ. Dave Brick can pedal a Nova, he sure can, and you know that better than most, Pete, having gone toe to toe. A flash of the lights from Max Hutting and Matthew Badley in their B11 Fiesta ST. Good to see the Fiestas out and still doing the business. Sambo Collis is watching with us. We mentioned your big day earlier, Sam. We do hope that you tuned in during the, what time is it? No, just be getting ready. Be having his nerve-settling pint at the church before the wedding, wasn't he? Good luck today, mate. All the best to you and Julie, a lovely couple. And you are a formidable and fierce competitor. And there was a really nice piece written by Jonathan Pullin in this month's Rally Sport News about Sam Collis, and he's a man who has covered some miles and put some shifts in. Lovely stories. One of those people just makes you smile when you think of him. There's Ewan Roberts and Daniel Jones in the G3 Escort. Dave Welford hoping that it's this nice and warm for the track rod rally in a couple of weeks. Have we got those times in yet? Oh, so do I, Dave. In between times, next weekend we've got the Three Shires, then we've got the Historic Rally Festival at Weston Park, and then we're over to the track rod. It's a busy few weeks of rallying. I'm a 7-day-a-weeker at the minute, and my wife has forgotten what I look like. James Dixon Joel watching with us. Where is that MRF Tyres Escort Cosworth, James? David Jones asking what time the cars come back through Hay Park this afternoon. Oh my goodness, you're going to make me flick through my notes now, aren't you, to get the timings up. Hay Park this afternoon is at just after 5 o'clock, 6 minutes past 5 to be exact. Here's a man who's just about still in the hunt for Silver Star honours. Andy Davison, Tom Murphy there. Dave Jones is talking about TME engines, Trevor Morris. I see. Now your comments earlier make sense. Diego Fonseca, thank you, mates. Love the rally, miss it being in the US. Good to have you with us, Diego. Whereabouts in the United States are you watching from? We do like to know where we're broadcasting to. Amazing, the internet, isn't it, really? Shifty Dave says it's a bit of a trek from Canada, which is where he's watching. Luke was asking if he's going to be there at the Three Shires. It's a bit of a trek, isn't it? P.O. Koenig is nursing a broken leg in Sweden. Loves the escorts, though. Some consolation. I hope your leg break isn't too bad. That doesn't sound very good. Dan Jones enjoying the live coverage. Great to have you with us. AKA Motive, are you guys covering the Galloway Hills? We're not. There's the man pushing Liam Clark hard for the R2 Rally Cup title this season. Robert Proudlock, Stephen Brown in the Opel Adam R2. They'll be looking for a big performance here on these Mid-Wales stages on the Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages Rally. Just waiting for those times to drop in, though. We're still looking for Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, and I want to see where Dave Brick feeds in as well, not competing for championship points. Diego reminding us, of course, remember you saying before, he's in Indiana. What a cool part of the world to say you're from. It's hard to say that without trying to make a bad American accent. Neil Matthews is watching with us, although Neil doesn't very much like my coverage. I don't know what that comment was about this week, Neil. But I decided not to indulge you in the banter. Dermot Bradley's watching from a ditch in Wexford. Oh, he's waiting on stage 1 of the Wexford Stages Rally. Big flash of the lights and lots of sideways as well for Mike Brown Jr. and Aled Davies in that remarkably raucous sounding and looking wide arch BMW M3 E36 compact. Roger Priestnall, another of, I missed Roger off when I was talking about the competitors from the heyday of the 1400s here in the BCRDA, about 10 years ago or so, and there were a good 10 or 11 drivers could have taken any rally win. Roger Priestnall was formidable and entertaining in that Super 1600, or Super 1400 I should say, Proton Satria, another of the names that we would love to see back out here with his Rolex Satria. If you've still got the car set there in the garage, Roger, let's have you back out on the stages, because you know what, Nigel and Kaz are having things pretty much all their own way at the moment. We can't be having that, can we? Lucy BB is supporting Bonnie Papa Motorsport. She's in with Colin Minton, who is on for the MRF Tyres Challenge title. If he keeps going well in that Fiesta R5, really getting to grips with that car now. There is the ex-Ari Vatanen car, multiple Woodpecker winner, Richard Goff. Jez Rogers alongside. Amazing to think that Ari used to pedal that car in the World Championship, isn't it? Richard was Welsh Rally Champion in 1983 and in 1997. I think there's something about being able to win a title in different decades, isn't there? And he's a man who we were looking forward to seeing out here, and he didn't disappoint, did he, in that ex-Ari Vatanen Mark II. X-Works royalty out here on the Cummersgowan stage, the first stage of the Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Stages. There's James Lepley, Simon Jones alongside in their RS 1800. Talking of the Lepleys, there's some news there, isn't there? George Lepley back with us here on a BTRDA round, not registered for championship points, but after such a stunning performance last season, he's in a Mitsubishi Galant, and I am amazed and delighted to see that car on the entry. I can't wait to see George Lepley through in the Gold Star part of the entry. Still looking for that time from Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. They're shown on the tracker. There is a man who has a 100% finishing record in this year's series so far. He's fighting for the Silver Star title with Robert Goff and Paul Morris. That is Boyd Kershaw. Keegan Rees alongside. The flying Kiwi in his Mark II Escort, who promised me he would give it big licks and get it sideways wherever he saw the TV crew this weekend. But he's got a championship fight on his hands, hasn't he? Pete Gorst, our reigning Bronze Star champion, is getting right in on the action on this live coverage. Do you wish you were out in a car, Pete? Probably a silly question. Billy Grew watching with us. Ange Cotton, good to have you with us. There's Gareth James with Stefan Evans alongside in the RS 1800. Chris Butcher's watching from a very warm service area. Excited to finally be back out on the stages at Three Shires and enjoying your rallying at the moment with that Nissan. Really looking forward to seeing that. Good to have you with us in a very warm service area this weekend, mate. Peter Lewis asking what time the cars head back to the race course for service. Ooh, making me get my timings out again now. Well, they go to service after Hopton before Hay Park, don't they? So what time will that be? Just trying to juggle all my notes. Oh, sorry, no, they don't. They just have a refuel between Hopton and Hay Park. So first service in is 12:43. No, it's not. It's 12:08. There we go. 12:08. Final answer. Just after 12 o'clock then. The cars are first back into the service. But 5:30 tonight is when the cars will head back to the racecourse in Ludlow for the finish, and we could potentially be crowning our 2023 MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Champion when that happens. Lewis Payne. Lewis Payne? That's his brother. Elliot Payne. Elliot Payne. With I had Lewis Hooper. I was looking at something to do with Lewis Hooper. So I just combined him and Elliot Payne. Tell you what, combination of Lewis Hooper and Elliot Payne would be some kind of rally super god, wouldn't it? Elliot Payne. Sorry about that. That was a bit of a weird tangent, wasn't it? Lewis Hooper will be looking at the screen like, hey. Elliot Payne, Tom Woodburn could take the title this weekend. Just shut up and talk about the rally cars, Woodford. There's Richard Jordan with James Grattan Smith, one of the British Historic Rally Championship crews in that gloriously prepared RS 1800 Mark II. The one thing that we can't bring you, we can bring you the action, we can bring you the story, we can bring you the sounds and the sights. Well, there's two things we can't bring you. Firstly, if you want to get a taste of the dust like we're having it, you need to go back into the back garden and lick the ground. It's about the only thing you could do to get the full flavour of what we're having right now, because we are really eating the dust. I wouldn't recommend you do that though, and I've got some really funny images in my mind now. But the smell is something that we just can't bring you, and I wish we could. I wish we could do scratch and sniff rallying. You've got a control fuel canister from the WLC from Sebastian Loeb from a few years ago, haven't you, producer Wayne? I wonder if every now and again you wouldn't dare take the lid off, would you, in case it evaporates? It's probably all evaporated now.
Sealed.
Yeah, you say that. You trust the FIA to seal it? No. Yeah, yeah. Unless you've got a little tub of carless fuel, you're probably not going to be able to replicate that at home. But the smell of some of these historic cars is absolutely glorious. Right, okay, Simon Crook has managed to find Nigel Jenkins and Kaz Jenkins 5 seconds clear in the lead of the 1400S. While we're looking at that, I wonder if Mason, can you bring up the times and just see where Dave Brick slots in? Right, there we go. So, Nigel Kaz Jenkins then leading 1400S. Or 1400s by 5 seconds at the moment. Dylan Fowler Bishop, though, cracking time from them. Just looking for Dave Brick. Freddie Brick's got a time in. I think a couple of the times just coming through in a funny order. So we'll look for Dave Brick's time when that drops in, because I will be interested to see where they sit compared to Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, because they were fighting with that Nova, weren't they? There's Will Onions. And Dave Williams. Interestingly, George Lepley does appear on the entry list, and I saw this yesterday when we were going through the research. George Lepley and Dale Bowen do appear on the entry list in the Galant VR4 in this historic field. I suppose they're a historic crew, aren't they, in British Historics? An interesting mix there, because the car's clearly four-wheel drive. You can see now on your screen just how dusty it is here in Cwmysgowen. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Mid Wales, but you wouldn't know it because you can't see it. There's a man who has entertained us in various cars here in the BTRDA over the years, not least in that Super 1400 Swift kit car that he had. But here he is in his historic spec RS 1800. It's Tom Walster, Glyn Thomas alongside, and absolutely hurling that car up the stage. Should be seeing our Silver Star leaders very shortly. Looking for Robert Goff and Paul Morris. As you see, Adrian Hetherington, Ronan O'Neill, one of the British Historic Rally Championship crews this weekend. Also the historic championship leader, Nick Elliott, with Dave Price in that Alitalia Fiat 131, which will be a glorious sight if we can possibly see it through the dust. Will be with us very soon as well. Leads the BHRC, but no victories, no maximum scores so far this season, showing yet again how often do we see that consistency and regular good points scores are quite often a match for outright blistering pace. Paul Street, the sound not in sync with the live stream. Any clues? The problem must be your end, Paul, because I've got the stream on now and everything's synced. Maybe
going back again.
Usually it just sorts itself out, Paul, so it's probably temporary, but yeah, apologies. Marcus Long's just said the sound's not synced either. Teal Jacks is watching from Greece. Good to have you with us. John Cadwallader. Ian Ross watching with us. Yeah, Paul, there probably is just a temporary glitch in the space-time continuum, which is what usually causes the time to drop out of sync, but it'll be... There we go, look at that! Incredible scenes. If you'd have told me 5 years ago that we'd see an Alitalia Fiat 131 out on these classic stages here in the MRF Tyres BTRDA being driven like that. Whoa. Gets the juices flowing, doesn't it? Nick Elliott and Dave Price. A car which very nearly took Matt Edwards to British Historic Rally Championship glory last season, of course. The second of the RSD Fiats, which has been sold to Italy now, which is why Matt isn't out in that car. John Payne, yep, oh, the memories indeed. Had a fantastic poster in my room as a kid, and I'm sure I've still got it somewhere in the loft rolled up, of Walter Rawl, and it was a big picture of him on the Acropolis in the blue and white Fiat 131 that just said, Fiat, winning laurels, but never resting on them. There's a mantra for life. Joe Price, Chris Brooks in their Mark II. We haven't had Robert Goff, Paul Morris through yet, have we? Our Silver Star leaders. They'll be spectacular on this section of stage, no doubt. Paul, the championship coordinator of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, has done such a good job of rebooting that series. It's been great to be a part of it this season and to mix ranks and compete here in the BTRDA as well. He's another man who I don't know how he finds all the time for rallying, and when you look at how much horsey stuff he's doing with fiancée Donna, I don't know how they have the time. Richard Wise is watching from hot and sunny Yorkshire. It's barbecue weather, isn't it? Paul Morris is watching, which is on a Paul Morris rally. This is Paul Wakely. Yeah, Paul Wakely, Paul Morris rally, isn't it? It's a hard charging Roger Chilman, Patrick Walsh alongside. Surely we'll have Robert Goff and Paul Morris through before long. It did confuse me seeing Paul Morris rally, which is unusually is Paul Wakely's Facebook account. Apologies to those of you who have got sound sync issues. Not much we can do about it, I'm afraid. It's just a glitch. We'll be we've got maybe one more car left. I'm expecting Paul Morris, or Robert Goff and Paul Morris through, and that will round things off for these two-wheel drives. It's on the tracker, producer Wayne. Can you see? Morning, Mr. Wakely.
105.
Hope you're well, sir.
Yeah, it can be stopped in the stage right after start.
It looks like car 105, our Silver Star leaders, Robert Goff and Paul Morris, have stopped in this stage just after the start here in this Cumberthgowan first stage of the day, which will be a frustration, but not only that, it will be a championship blow as well. It will be a chance for Boyd Kershaw and Keegan Rees to make up some ground as well. So, at the moment, Robert Goff and Paul Morris stopped in this first stage of the day. We'll update you on that when we get some news, but for now, that's it from the two-wheel drive section here in the Phil Price Memorial Woodpecker Rally. It is round 6 of the 2023 MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship. Phil Bramwell is live. Oh, here we go. That was good timing, wasn't it? Listen to that. The 90s are back. And they're back with a bang. And that bang is the anti-lag system of that Galant VR4.